Hello, it's Brooklyn, and I wanted to show you guys how to properly propagate a succulent plant. And it's, of course, super simple, super easy. Succulents are just great because pretty much everything about them is really simple. And so you see I have 3 plants here. The first one is a sunrise succulent, or a mimicry plant. You can see the description there with the scientific name. And you can see that it has, green shades of purple and pink, fuchsia. It's a really pretty plant. And here you'll see that I have an echeveria chroma. Let's see if we can get that into focus there. There it goes. Echeveria chroma. It kind of needs a little bit of TLC. I'm going to cut it, and I'll do another video on cutting it and then replanting the cuttings, that stalk part down there. And here is the Echeveria Pearl von Nuremberg plant, and that is the one that had mealybugs. You'll want to refer to the mealybugs video for easy ways to kill mealybugs and keep them from coming back. I'll link to that in the description below as well. And as you can see, I have little leaves from each plant here. And each leaf is in a different stage of propagation, so I can really kind of show you guys. So the first leaf from the sunrise plant is it just actually fell off of the plant. You can pluck them off, but sometimes they'll just fall off. And once they do fall off, hold on to them because you can easily propagate from this one leaf. And as you can see, nothing is happening with it. It literally just fell off yesterday, I believe. And so when you have a leaf that falls off, or you pluck a leaf, you literally just want to sit it and just let it do its thing. You may have to sit it down, just leave it sitting for maybe a week or 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe even a month. And you don't have to water it. It doesn't need sunlight. In fact, it's better if you have it sitting in a shady area by itself. You don't need to sit it on soil. You could actually leave it sitting right here. And this is a kind of shady area, and I don't have to water it. I don't have to worry about it at all. So that one is in the beginning stages. So you'll want to let that sit until it calluses over. And once it calluses over, then it'll begin to really, you'll be able to see it really grow. And you'll know it calluses over when it doesn't, after a few days. After 2 or 3 days, just leave it sitting, it will callus over. And then you can move on to the next step. First up, we have a leaf from the sunrise plant. And that's this one, the sunrise plant. So this leaf actually fell off yesterday. Very new, very fresh. You can use leaves that fall off, that happen to fall off, or you can pluck them from the bottom of the plant. So one's down here. And these leaves at the bottom are more than likely going to fall off anyway at some point. So just keep an eye out for ones that have fallen off, and you can use those to propagate. So this one, since it's brand new, it fell off yesterday. What you want to do, the first step is, once you have your leaf, if you've plucked it or it's fallen off, let it sit. Let it do its thing for 2 to 3 days. And that allows the leaf to callus over so that it will be able to grow a new sprout, grow a whole new plant. And so this one, I'm just going to let it sit here. Shady area, no need to water it during those 2 to 3 days. Just literally let it sit. And once it begins to callus over, and what I mean by callus over is you'll see the end of it, where the section that it broke off from the plant will be callused over. You'll be able to see it. Right now it's fresh, it's new. You can still see that it hasn't callused over, but you'll be able to see it when it does. Another thing is, if you decide to break off a plant, break off a piece of a leaf, make sure you do it really cleanly. So you want to, twist it for a bit. Excuse me, not that one, but twist it, and pull it off in a one clean break. If it breaks off in half, or if it doesn't break off in a complete piece, and you don't have the part of the leaf that was attached to the stem, it's probably not going to do anything. And sometimes they don't do anything at all. Sometimes if you break it off properly, they don't grow, and it's just the way things go. So just be patient and just see what it does, but give it 2 to 3 days at this stage. Now at the next stage, once it has callused over, you'll see, and this leaf is from this echeveria, and this is the chroma echeveria. You'll see that once the leaf calluses over, and it will start to grow. You'll see it's red. The blooms are, I believe the blooms are always red, no matter any type of plant. So this one has been sitting for about a week. And so I did the same process with the previous leaf. I allowed it to just sit for 2 to 3 days. It callused over. And after that, it began to grow a little tiny red root, as you can see here. And so at this point, when you allow your leaf to callus over for 2 to 3 days, after that 2 to 3 days, pretty much on the 4th or 5th day, you want to sit your leaf right on some soil. And you want to make sure that it is the same succulent soil. Actually, you may be able to use any type of soil, but I would just recommend succulent soil like cactus mix, or any soil that you mix that is made for succulents. And literally, you sit it on top of the soil. You spray. I have a spray bottle that I water, that I just spray the surface of the soil. You just want the soil to be damp. I would recommend sitting it on its own soil. So if you have another extra little pot, or you have, it doesn't even have to be a pot, it can just be the part that catches the water from the pot underneath it. Fill it with soil, spray it every single day lightly with water, plain water. It still doesn't need that much sunlight, just because it's still growing. It's, it's a new, very, very new root, super sensitive to light. So you don't want to sit it in direct sunlight. You just want to let it do its thing in the shade on top of the soil, and you make sure you water it every single day with a spray bottle, just to keep that surface of that soil wet, moist is a better word, moist. And then you'll be able to see it grow. And so once you have it sitting on the soil, and I'm just using the soil as an example, I have a bigger palette of soil in there. So once you sit it on the soil, you'll see that, you sit it right side up, you'll see that the roots are going to start reaching down towards the soil, and that is completely normal. That's just a normal process. And that's how they start out. And when you get to this point, you'll see, and the leaves will die off eventually, and a new plant will be created. But you can see this leaf is dying, and there's a new plant. There's a new tiny little plant. Let me get that into focus for you. There you go. And it's just so cute. I mean, how cute is that? And so once the leaf begins to die off, it'll die off eventually. It won't die off immediately. You'll still have it, a new little plant attached to the leaf, and that's fine. You just want to keep it sitting on that soil, and you want to keep watering it every single day. So pretty much this stage and this stage, you want to do the same type of care. Make sure you're sitting it on top of the soil, misting it with water every day, just enough to get the surface of the soil wet. And make sure that you're not using, you can use your succulent, the same pot that your succulent is in, but remember that succulents don't need to be watered that often, so it may be too much to just have to water these every day, and then the succulent is going to get water. So just do these separate areas of soil. And so once you see it at this stage, keep on doing what you're doing, keep on watering it. It's going to get bigger and bigger, and it's eventually, of course, this one is going to eventually look like this plant. Of course, it's going to, it's small. So once the leaf dies off completely, or the leaf actually will fall off completely, I believe, you can plant the new succulent, in some soil, and it will continue to grow and become a big succulent. And that is pretty much it. It's just amazing. It's amazing. I'm probably going to pluck some more of these leaves off at some point, the bottom ones, and you can see there's a new little succulent growing down in the soil. But I'll probably pluck some of these lower leaves off. And you remember, you always want to pluck from the bottom. It's just natural. The bottom leaves are more than likely going to fall off anyway. And if you see any leaves that are kind of dying, just try it with them. You never know what can happen. And don't be afraid. Just experiment. Pluck off some leaves and let them callus over, like this one. Let them sit for 2 to 3 days. Then you'll start to see, some roots growing, like this one. Like this one. And then, you'll have your own little baby succulent. And it's really neat. It's a neat process to watch from beginning to end. So yeah, share your tips. If you have any suggestions or questions or comments, please share them below. Like the video, subscribe. And this is Brooklyn, and I will see you later.